Hopefully, I'm here. Hello, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes, I see some nods. That's a good sign. So welcome to our virtual open evening. And thank you all so much for joining me this evening, which will hopefully be an evening that will enlighten you a little bit more about Amery Hill School and everything we have to offer. As you know, here I am Mr. Mann, I am the head teacher here, and here is a younger version of myself when I first joined the school a couple of years ago. Clearly, time has not been particularly good for me, and I'm clearly a little bit greyer, less hair, and looking a little bit frazzled after the last few years, but loving this job and loving working in what is a wonderful school. Tonight is all about me and Mrs. Vickery, my chair of governors, trying to give you an idea and a sense of what Amery Hill is all about. Clearly, we would love to have you in school, and our normal traditional open evenings are such a fun-filled evening full of exciting and dynamic things that go on around our lovely building. But due to obviously what is going on in the world and our country at the moment, that is clearly not possible. But I hope tonight just gives you an essence of what our school is all about. Hope to cover a whole range of things this evening, and you can see on this tonight about where the school, the essence of the school, and how it's been at the heart of the community for many years. To look at, I've got some students who are going to be talking about their reflections from year 7s who've only been here for just a couple of weeks to students who have been here for many more years, and what their views about their experience has been at this school. And then to go through sort of some of our key values of progress, care and opportunity, which really underpin everything we do. So moving on then, the vision of the school. Schools need visions because, why are we Amery Hill? What is our unique selling point? Why do we believe that the education here is an education for life? And these three aims have really underpinned a lot of what we have tried to achieve over many years. To prepare every student with those skills, those qualities and that resilience to succeed in this ever-changing world. And if ever this last 6 months has proven that it's really important that we have young people who leave this school with those skills, with those qualities, that they are able to adapt, that they are able to take on this world that is throwing all sort of obstacles in our way. And I like to think that we do a fantastic job in preparing those young people. We believe in that challenge as well for all our students to better themselves and aspire to be the very best that they can be. And that doesn't matter, regardless of ability or where their starting points are, it's always about the best that they can be, not what we want them to be, but what they can be. And that's really fundamental in trying to galvanise and shape a young person's future and pushing them in the right direction. And then finally, again, so important in today's world, we want our students to care and respect all individuals, as it says there, regardless of disability, gender, race, culture, religion, or sexuality. And again, in a world that is becoming quite insular at times, it's important that we're educating our young people to go out into the world and be that accepting individual that is willing to embrace all people, no matter who they are, where they are, or what they believe in for that matter. So I have to start off with a couple of year 7s who have literally, I filmed them last week, and I gave them a day's notice. I said, look, I'm going to stick you in front of the camera and I want you just to talk about your first week. No prompts, just come in and then do that. And this is what both Lily and Josh had to say.
Hi, I'm Lily and I used to go to St. Mary's Primary School.
Hi, I'm Josh and I used to go to St. Mary's Dunwell.
Today we're going to be explaining about how you're going to feel when you come to Amery Hill. We've just finished our second week at Amery Hill and we've enjoyed it very much. The teachers are all very nice and understanding and kind, and it's been a great experience.
The size of the school is nothing to worry about. However, you are guaranteed to get lost a few times. If you do get lost, just ask the teacher or member of staff.
Like Josh said, if you get lost, don't worry. Everyone's got lost a couple of times, even me. I've got lost a couple of times. So don't worry, just ask someone or a student and it'll be fun around. So Amery Hill is a really good school because the teachers are all very understanding. If you get lost or you're late for lessons, they'll understand that you just come into the school and you don't know really where to go.
The food there is amazing. There is a wider range to choose from, and they are all very tasty. There is also a wider curriculum of subjects, and the teachers there are very nice. The curriculums are all very good, and it's nice to learn new things every single day. I've learned lots of things, and it's been brilliant. Don't worry about not making friends. Everybody, including myself, has made loads of friends within the first few hours of being there on our first day.
Yeah. When you're eating lunch, everyone gets together and has really fun and chat about school and what they've been doing. So don't worry, you'll make friends very soon.
You'll also get more freedom, but that comes with more responsibilities, and you'll have to be a lot more mature.
But don't worry, if you lose things, just ask reception. They're all very nice, and if you've forgotten something, don't worry. They'll always be there to you.
I recommend to do your homework the day it gets set, because therefore it doesn't build a mountain of homework.
And don't worry, if you get stuck on the homework, the teachers always ask, if anyone's stuck on the homework, just ask them and they'll give you some suggestions. Bye.
Bye.
Well, they're fantastic. You know, to put them in front of a camera and to be able to speak like that speaks volumes. And there could have been a whole host of other students I could have used in Year 7. I also wanted to take a sort of a temperature reading on as how the year group have felt in their first two weeks of school. And so I did I sent a survey out for their homework. And although the deadline was this week, over 150 students responded to that last week. And a couple of the questions that came up was one of these. If you had to rate the first couple of weeks of school, 4 is fantastic and 1 is I am worried, what would you give yourself? And you can see that, 98% of the students who responded there, really felt that they were very comfortable, that they were really engaged in really happy with their first couple of weeks here. And then when I asked them to sort of give a reason as to why they gave that score, this is what a few of them had to say.
I gave myself this score because so far it has been amazing. I have made so many new friends and it already feels like I've known them forever. The teachers are so kind, fun and understanding.
And then we had Louise said,
I love Amory Hill School and I know it was the right school to go to. Plus the teachers are really nice and making friends is easy.
And then finally, Florence said,
I have had a really good first week and all the teachers are really nice. The reason I did a 4 is because I have made lots of new friends and everyone there is so kind. The way we learn I really like too, and just overall it's been really good.
Now, as I say, I could have chosen many, many more, but what the essence for me is, and as a parent myself, is what do I want my children to, when they start their first couple of weeks at school? I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel that their teachers are supportive and nice, and that they've made some friends. And you can just, even though there's just 3 examples there, you get an idea that is what our school is about. And that's why the transition to us for many, many students is so supportive and so positive. So we have 3 sort of aims for our school, which is about opportunity, progress and care. I'm just going to spend a few minutes sort of explaining those sort of 3 areas. Opportunity is a fundamental one for me and a really important one. And when I talk to Year 7s, I give them this example of this is a chance to try something new. When you start secondary school, there are so many different opportunities. There are things that you can try. There are places you can go. There are events that you can take part in. And you can see in some of these slides here of where our students have gone, both locally, nationally and internationally on trips. The amazing drama productions that we put on year, the last one being Guys and Dolls last year, which was absolutely brilliant. Music is a massive strength of the school, and we put on some amazing concerts, and students taking their awards and qualifications in those sorts of subjects really do go on to excel in their different musical activities. Sport is another developing area of the school, and I'm delighted to see the number of students who are taking up different sporting activities, which I can talk about a little bit later. And then it's about the clubs, isn't it? It's the things that, you know, that go on behind the scenes when you get 10 or 15 students together, whether that be in science or ICT, robotics, whether it's in science and technology, whether it's up in the art room or even in the library and being one of the librarians. There is so much for a student to get involved in. And, you know, for me, it's one of those fundamental parts of the curriculum. The extracurricular program is not just an add-on, it's an essential part of it. And, you know, I would urge every young person when they come to secondary school to get involved. The scenario for me as a young boy I can remember is my first time when a PE teacher threw me a rugby ball for the first time and said, "Man, run." And for the next 25 years, I ran with a rugby ball because it enlightened a passion in me that has never really gone away. Unfortunately, these days, it's more of a hobble than a run, but nevertheless, you know, it's really sort of a key thing that's stuck in my head. Opportunity is so key. And here at Amery Hill, I believe that opportunity is huge. The next thing is about progress. And as I alluded to at the start, it's about progress for all, every single student, regardless of their starting point. And I believe at our school here, we're a small school that caters for every single individual. We learn and we understand an individual right from the moment of transition when they start at our school, from the detailed transition process that when we speak to the primary schools, when we speak to the students, and from then on our pastoral system to start off with to get to learn and understand how a student thinks, what their strengths are, what their areas of development are required. Here at Amery Hill, we have this all-round package that really does nurture and support that progression. And I think more importantly, it's for every ability, so that we are really stretching those students who are aspiring to those highest GCSE grades. So those students that need that additional support, which we all need from time to time, to help them with their reading, or whether it's their spelling, or whether it's their numeracy, for example. There is something here, and there are systems in place at this school to ensure that we support those individual students. And because we take so much time and attention to the individual, it means that, you know, the vast majority of our students will leave school with the grades they need to make that next transition to college and to further training. And our results. Now, it's very easy to, you know, with the 2020 results, as you all know, they were all generated nationally by centre assessment grades. And what's interesting for us is that we went through this process in a really thorough way to ensure that we were being fair, and that we were giving students every opportunity to achieve the grades that they truly deserved. It wasn't about accelerating or inflating those grades, it was by doing the right thing for the students and doing that with integrity and with a real moral purpose. And so many hours, I can assure you, were spent with colleagues and eventually with myself to make sure those grades were appropriate. And with all the inflation that's gone on, what's great to see for us was the consistency over the last 3 years in our grades have been very similar. Okay, we've maintained a really high standard, and even against the national figures, provisional national figures that stand there, I hope you can see that our school is well above those national standards for attainment in those areas, which is so important, and just showing that the quality of education at our school is in a really high place, but it's also a place that for me as a head teacher, I want to improve upon in the next few years and in the coming years. We never stand still. A school that is satisfied with those grades is a school that's probably going down. We are constantly searching for how we can strive for better, how we can support our students even more, so that we can proudly say that, yes, we're in the top 20 best performing schools in Hampshire, but we want to be in the top 5. You know, not just because it looks good for the school, but it means our students are coming out at the end with grades that will be as competitive as anywhere, any other school, whether that be a school that, whether that be a private education or whether that be the state system. So we're incredibly proud of our students and what they've achieved. And then we have opportunity, we have progress, and then our third key word is care. And care is our heart. And I think in coming to this school 2 years ago, it was always a school that had a reputation for care. It's kind of in the bricks, in the mortar of the school, that we always do look out for our students. And as you can see on this slide, just the scope and the amount of different people and groups of people who are here to support young people, whether that be in their learning through the student hub, or whether that be something more personal through student services or the tutor team or the progress leader. Everyone is buying into this idea that we need to support our individuals so no one gets lost. And I have to say, during COVID, especially when the school was, when the school was closed and our students were far and wide, across our area, that's when care really came to the forefront for our school, because we were there on the phone. We were keeping the school open for all our vulnerable learners and for those families who were key workers. And we didn't stop working at all. And that is so important to me, so that I hope that our parents felt that we were there at the end of a phone, and we were constantly trying to communicate them on a weekly basis throughout the whole 6 months, that we were still making that connection, which is so important. So back to the survey. And one of my other questions was, my experience at Amery Hill School makes me feel safe and happy. And again, huge numbers strongly agreeing with, you can't, sometimes there is one or two people who have found it hard, that transition. And that's why, and that particular student, which we know, we are supporting to help that transition. And when we asked some students about, would they recommend, what would they say to year 6? This is what they had to say.
If you think you are going to come to Amery, you have made the right choice. The teachers and students are very friendly, and although the transition is scary, it won't turn out as bad as you originally thought.
And then Layla said,
it is an amazing school to come to, with amazing students and an amazing environment. It is a great place to make new friends, and the food is amazing. I'm learning a lot and getting more independent each day I come here. I overall really enjoy the school.
There's this underlying theme. Food is so important to young people, isn't it? As long as the food is right in the canteen or in the dining hall, that says a lot. But it's good to see. But again, their words, their voice, and again, really positive images and positive messages, I should say, about how their first couple of weeks have gone. So I'm now going to pause for a minute, and I'm going to invite Mrs. Lorna Vickery, who's Chair of Governors, to say a few words to you.
Oh, hello there, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. It's pretty strange to have to do this over a video camera, but I seem to spend all my day at work doing this, so hopefully I'll come across okay to you. So a warm hello from the governors. My name is Lorna Vickery, and I've been a governor here for over 5 years now, and chair of governors for just over a year. So it's wonderful that you've taken time to come and watch our presentation this evening, and I hope I can communicate my enthusiasm and passion for the school, despite the fact I'm having to sit still here. I can't walk up and down and get and wave my arms around. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about what the governing board do, and explain why we choose to give up our time and make a commitment to supporting and developing the school and the whole community, which is staff and students and parents, and also the people around the school and across the town. So governors have 3 main roles. Firstly, we oversee the financial performance of the school and make sure that the money is well spent. We have a resources committee who look at the school's budgets and accounts, and they oversee and authorise expenditure on big projects. And so quite exciting, recently we had a new dining hall, which is fantastic, and as food is a bit of a theme this evening, it's been brilliant for the kids to have that new dining hall, and the menu and the range that they can offer is great. And over the summer we had a new IT network installed, and that has really already proved its worth. So that's the type of thing that governors particularly look at to make sure that it's all being spent in the best way, and we're getting good value for money. Our second role is to challenge the senior team and Mr. Mann to make sure that all our students are receiving the best learning and teaching possible, and that we have a broad curriculum so that everybody gets a chance to try lots of different subjects, and that people can study as many subjects as possible for as long as possible as well. This and also the curriculum includes clubs and societies and school trips and opportunities to get involved with our whole community. And we have a standards committee, and we meet every term to discuss these areas. So I'd just like to say here that the last few months, as you can imagine, have been a really difficult time for Mr. Mann and his team. And they've been asked to deliver teaching and learning in a way that's never been anticipated before. And as the governing board, we've been regularly updated on the plans and these have had to change weekly quite often. And there's been very long and detailed risk assessments that have been prepared. And I just want to take this chance really to say that all the staff have been absolutely amazing. They've continued to work so hard to keep the school open. And it's been wonderful this term to see all the students coming back and see our new Year 7 starting. And I think the whole school is trying so hard to support one another. And you know, it's been a challenging time, and it's fantastic. I really hope that we're going to be able to keep the school open, you know, for the rest of the year now. It's brilliant. So the final thing that governors are responsible for is the vision and value and strategic direction of the school. So we work closely with Mr. Mann and his team to make sure that the special ethos of Amory Hill School is maintained, regardless of changes in government policy or new staff coming into the school and different cohorts of students passing through. So kind of one of our core aims is to remain an inclusive school that's got a really good, well-resourced pastoral team where we can support our students with their mental and emotional development and enable them to really get the most of their time here. We're really ambitious for all our students, and we have board meetings and committee meetings, and that's where we set the policies and targets to try and make sure that we really genuinely provide an education for everybody that comes here, regardless of background and ability. So just to say a little bit more about governors, we're not educational professionals, a couple of us are, but and we're not responsible for running the school. We come from a range of backgrounds, banking, I'm a civil servant, some people come from HR or engineering professions. Many of us work full time and have other commitments, and the work we do for the school is voluntary. So I guess the point I'm making is why are we governors? And I think the reason we get involved is because we want to support a local school. We want to improve education opportunities for all students. We really think Amory Hill is an excellent school, and we really think it holds the needs of the students at heart. And we love coming here and seeing all the students happy and thriving in a really supportive environment where good behaviour is expected and the students respect and support one another. However, I think we strongly believe that the school has potential to be even better. And so the thing that drives us, and we talk to students and staff and parents about this, is that we want to inspire everybody at Amory Hill to continue to excel and develop, so that for the 5 years that students spend here, it really provides a foundation for the rest of their lives. So just to finish, I'm going to say it is difficult to decide which school to choose, even when you can go and visit it, and even trickier when you have to rely on a virtual open evening. So I hope you can tell that Mr. Mann and his team and all the staff and governors are really motivated for passion for our students to succeed. And I hope if you decide to join us, that you'll come and you'll have fun, you'll learn lots, you'll make lots of new friends, and then leave with some great memories and opportunities in the future. So thank you for listening. I'm going to hand you back to Mr. Mann now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lorna. I have to say I couldn't do it without the governors, and they're an incredibly supportive group of individuals who really care passionately about this school, which is wonderful. So, enough of us for a minute. I'm going to hand over to two slightly older students who are going to talk about their journey so far.
Hello everyone, my name is Monty and I'm the head boy of Amory Hill School.
Hi, I'm Dee and I'm a senior prefect here, and some of you might know me from when I taught you French when you were young.
Amory offers so many extracurricular activities, also academic activities too. Me and Dee have both had loads of extracurricular activities.
When I was in your age, I was lucky enough to go to Malta for the week,
performing with the orchestra and singing in the choir.
And Amory also hosts many music concerts every year, which is always a highlight for me and Dee. But it's not just music that we do. Dee, what do you do?
So last year I went to the mock trials, which is a young lawyers competition, and I stood in front of the jury and put forward my case.
And I've had the opportunity to be part of Youth Parliament, where I represent thousands of students across Hampshire. Amory also opens so many doors in terms of going to college and further education. I hope to go to Peter Symonds next year, where I hope to study history, maths, further maths and economics.
I hope to go to Wharton College to study history, French and biology.
Also, both me and Bea hope to apply to schools like Oxbridge in coming years, and so that's another thing that Amory offers you for further education. We hope to see you soon in the coming years.
And have a good day.
Bye.
Now, believe it or not, it's not going to, it'll go in a blink of an eye when your son or daughter is now until they get to that age, and our two wonderful year 11s there. But you can just see the type of young people that we are trying to foster and nurture, and you know, to take on this world. And there we've got two amazing young people, many more in the year group as well, which makes it such a pleasure to come into school each day and to work with these young people. So. Oh, partnership. If you want to go quickly, go alone, but if you want to go far, you must go together. And this is one of the fundamental things for us as a school. It's the partnership, and it's a three-way partnership. It's a partnership between the school, the young person and their parents. That has been so fundamental to a young person's success. When we work together, we can go so far, and we can really support our young people to excel in all areas of the curriculum. And from the outset, when you join Amory Hill School, that's what's going to be my expectation of parents, that you are going to work in partnership with us, that we're going to work together. We might disagree at times, but a lot of the time we will agree. And the most important thing will be the young person, your son or daughter, our students. And so I just want to reiterate, this partnership is so key to the success in the future. And it's something that we've nurtured and done for many years now. And I look forward to be able to do that with many of you in the future. Celebrating success is again another fundamental part of the school in recognising student achievement wherever it might be. And a year ago, we introduced a brand new type of reward for students called the iCare Awards, where we wanted to focus on five sort of key areas that we believe students should really try and excel in, and whatever type of work they do, whether that be work that is independent, whether it be creative work, whether it be work that involves an activity or being active learners, work where is resilient, and also when there are times of showing empathy, understanding and care for other people. And so throughout the school year, students and staff will award students points under these 5 areas. And then at celebration assemblies that we have, students will be awarded badges because students like a badge. And that's really nice because they are put on their lapels. And then this culminates at an end of year award ceremony, normally done in the Maltings, where we bring together with their parents, you know, the students have achieved the most outstanding contributions in these 5 areas and across the curriculum. Celebrating success should be a norm. It's not the exception. And each day staff are able to do that by awarding of these points, and bringing that all together in a celebration assembly or an awards evening at the end of a year is fundamental in this acceptance and this appreciation of what an individual has achieved. And we have a lovely nature about our school that is able to do that and to be so inclusive, and that success is the norm here. It's not the exception. So, bit more about the nuts and bolts and probably some of the questions that came through about admissions. I want to try and address today, or try to anyway. We are a school that is now very popular, and for the last 2-3 years we have been oversubscribed in our numbers. We have 200 students in each year group, and as I say, for the last few years, we've had well over 200 people applying for our school, which is wonderful. As a parent, that obviously brings its own concerns, but it has to be a case. And if you are going to choose Amory Hill, and you really want to have first of all, a good chance of getting in, you have to make us first preference, because second preference is are not able to get in, or certainly are put on the waiting list, that's for sure. The admissions policy is very clear. It's on our website, and all our admissions are administered by Hampshire County Council, even though we are an academy. There is a strict priority order, which you will see published on our admissions policy, and it's important that you have a look through that to see that. And then the deadline date is the 31st of October. We have taken students from out of catchment over the last few years, but I have to say that number is getting gradually smaller and smaller as the local community of Alton starts to grow, and also more and more students from our feeder schools start coming to us, which again is fantastic. But there are places available, and although I can't guarantee anyone's place at this school, because it's all done very strictly through Hampshire and it's all about distance from the school, it is something that you need to just be aware of, and that application you must get in on the deadline date of the 31st of October. If you do your application, to whether it's for our school or for any other school, if you're after the 31st of October, then you get put to the bottom of the list. So make sure whatever you decide that you hit that 31st of October deadline, please. Okay. Open events. It would be lovely to have an open school and to first of all invite you for this evening, and to then be able to offer tours. Myself and the governors at this precise moment in time, I hope you appreciate, but we are not going to be offering any tours of this school. My responsibility right now is for the welfare of the students here and the staff that are here. And we feel as a school, with governors' support, that it is a risk too far to open up our school for having groups of people outside the community coming in. That's a real shame, because the selling point of our school is actually coming in and seeing it. Actually not on an open evening, but actually when the school is open on a day-to-day basis, because that's when you truly see what a school is all about. Because when you see the buzz in the classroom, the silence in the corridors, the way our students interact and move around the school, that's when a school really comes to life. And I think that's when our school sells itself. But regrettably, we can't do that. And at this precise moment, I'm not going to be offering any sort of tours as such. If you do have particular concerns about thinking about choosing Amery Hill as the school for you, there is some information towards the end of this presentation where you can get in contact, and we will happily answer queries and questions either by email or on the phone, or even in a video conference if you so wish. So my apologies. I know other schools might be deciding to open their schools up. I have to think about the welfare of my students in my school, and at this precise moment, I think the risks are unfortunately too great, and I hope you can appreciate that. And if your child was here right now, you would be supportive of that as well. So we had this idea of a virtual or a way of seeing the school a little bit more. So we put together a film which hopefully gives you a year in the life of Amery Hill School. I hope you enjoy this. Okay. I hope that gives you a flavour of a year in the life of our school, and you know, so much that we pack into a school, into that year, and those little clips of what, you know, what the school is like, what our rooms are like, what our buildings are like, and how the school has kind of grown from 1939, which you saw that original photo of the school when it first opened, to what it has grown to today. They're still keeping that basic, you know, elements of opportunity, progress, and care. Excuse me, voice escape. So we had, as part of you signing up tonight, we asked if there were any questions, and I'm hoping that I've got Mr. Gibbs here, the deputy head. Hello, Mr. Gibbs. Oh, that's a good start, isn't it? Mr. Gibbs, where are you? Because Mr. Gibbs should be able to then speak and tell us where he is. Bear with me. Probably need to try and unmute it. Oh, there you are, Mr. Gibbs. Mr. Gibbs, are you there?
Good evening, Alton. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank goodness.
Marvellous. The enthusiastic thumbs up across the board there. Good evening, Mr. Mann. So, yes, you're correct. There's a vast number of questions. What I try to do is to put them into categories, and some of what you've answered this evening, I'm just going to clarify. So if we can start off with the application process, sir. So some questions around sort of the actual process and about guaranteeing a place. I think you've already said that you can't guarantee a place, but once again, your advice about how you can put yourself in the best position to succeed with gaining a place at Amery, please.
Well, like all schools, it's a statutory process, and the first thing is to put us as first choice if you wish your son or daughter to get there. After that, it will be simply about distance from the school, which is out of your, as an individual family, that is out of your control. However, there is a priority order, which you can see on our website, and with students who have EHCPs or students that are looked after, then there is a higher priority for them in coming to our school, as it is for any secondary school. After that, it will be about whether you have a sibling in the school, your distance from the school, whether you come from originally from one of our feeder schools, and you'll be able to see exactly where you are in the ranking as that goes down. What I will say is, there is lots of movement, after application, and what we find is that people shift and change and move around, and so those that originally don't get a place, they do find, in the months between March next year and September, there are changes. So do not ever give up hope, but the most important thing is to put us as first choice. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Just a question about the application process. A couple of people moving into the area, and just some advice really, because they're looking to move into an area where the catchment school is another school local to us, but the son really would like to come to Amery Hill. Is there a problem with sort of in terms of location if they can put Amery Hill School as number one choice?
Yeah, I think what you'll find, if you're a family that lives in Alton, then you have a choice of two great schools. And historically, it's been pretty free in that the catchments of both our schools tend to merge. And so you just have a choice of going one or to the other. There seems to have been that. Clearly, if with all the building work and development that is going on at the moment, it would associate with certain schools. But I would say certainly for the next few years, that shouldn't be an issue if you are living in the Alton area.
Lovely, thank you. Can I just move on to a question about behaviour? Interestingly, a couple of questions about, understandably, how the school would deal with any form of bullying and what the bullying policy is from the school. Okay,
like every school, we have a zero tolerance on bullying, but that's not to say bullying doesn't happen, because children will be children and sometimes they will fall out with each other. The important things in recognising a good school is how it deals with that. And here at Amery Hill, we've invested a lot of time and resources into ensuring that, as I've said before, our students are supportive when things come up, when issues develop. And I think we have a really good success of trying to nip things in the bud very, very quickly. We've got colleagues on hand who aren't teachers through our student services who can be there in an instance when something happens, so that we can speak to the students, investigate what's going on, and then deal with it appropriately through our sort of behavioural policy. There are consequences to everyone's actions, and so our students get to know very clearly that we do not have a tolerance of bullying, and therefore we won't accept it. And if a student decides that they are going to act in a way which is not particularly pleasant to another student, then there will be a consequence to that.
Lovely, thank you. Just a question about communication. Obviously, parents in a primary school setting is a very different type of communication, perhaps on the school gate, etc. In a secondary school, it's very different. And just a question about how, as a secondary school, how do we manage communication with our parent body?
Thank you. Well, I've talked about partnership and this three-way partnership earlier in the presentation, and that comes with the communication. And although it'd be lovely to have a school gate with 1,000 students here and 1,000 parents outside, I think probably, Alton High Street will probably grind to a halt. So we can't necessarily accommodate that. But our doors are always open, and we're always at the end of a phone, at the end of a telephone, or at the end of an email, as it is nowadays. And so we would ask that parents always feel as though they can come in and speak to us if they have an issue. Likewise, the way we communicate out is vitally important. So each week on a Friday, we send out a bulletin, rain or shine, to all our parents, just informing them about things that have happened, things that are going to happen in the future, and making sure that our parents are fully aware. If you go onto our website under information, you can see the types of letters and weekly bulletins that we've been doing over the last almost 6 months now. Because even during lockdown, I made it my mission and the school's mission that we would communicate on a weekly basis, even if there wasn't very much to talk about, but just so we had that connection with our families and they didn't feel that they were on their own. Okay.
Lovely, thank you. Just on that point about lockdown, I know you love speaking about COVID as a head teacher. Just some more questions. You've alluded to it already, but would you like to sort of expand on how we support as a school the children of families during the lockdown process, and if there's any lessons to be learned?
Well, that's a good question. Certainly, during COVID, before we closed, and we closed on that Friday, the 20th of March, I believe it was, we sat around as a school and as a team and said the most important thing was that we needed to be available to our students. So throughout the lockdown process, our school was open for our vulnerable students and for our families of key workers, and that was maintained right the way through the spring and summer months. And gradually, as the pandemic sort of developed and more people struggling, we had gradually more and more students coming into school, which was good, because we were able to look after them during the day and hopefully allow their families to work and continue to inverted commas survive. We wanted to make sure that our most vulnerable families, again, were supported in a variety of ways. And even before, and this is why I like to think we were ahead of the curve in a number of different areas. So, for example, before the government decided that they would have food vouchers and being given out to those with free school meals, we had already ordered a whole host of vouchers for our families, which my staff actually came in and delivered prior to the government scheme starting. When it came to thinking about the well-being of students, and schools were instructed to communicate with every child, we'd already planned and started our wellbeing weeks, in which every single student was rung by their tutor over the course of a week, just to check in and see how they were. Our teachers were constantly on the phone to students who were struggling with their work, or communicating through our Show My Homework app if they had any questions about the work they were doing. Our student services team and the pastoral leaders were on the phone to some families whenever they needed it. It might have just been a phone call, or I'm struggling with my son or daughter who's getting them even out of bed, or it's getting harder and harder. Can you please help? We were in constant contact with children's services and with other agencies for families that needed that. And so there wasn't one student, I would hope, that didn't feel at some, who would have been, there was one student who wouldn't have felt, who I hope wouldn't have felt isolated during that time. And it was something that I was incredibly proud of, and the thanks and recognition that we did get from our families after after we came back, or during that time, reiterated to me that we were hopefully doing as good a job as possible. What have I learned? What have I learned from this experience? Well, I've learned to sneeze into my elbow, which is not a pleasant thing. But most importantly, what I have learned about this is the power of community, the power of a school being at the centre of its community, and really wanting to reach out and support everyone, and trying its very best. Maybe not getting it right all the time. We are only human, but nevertheless trying our very best to engage and support and to nurture. And I think the success of that has been that when our students have now come back, which has been wonderful to see, in those first few days, we had 98-99% attendance in those first few days. If our community were worried about our school and the way we'd set it up, then families would not have brought their children in. But yet we had this, huge surge of families and students coming back to our school. Some came in, no problem at all. Those that we knew that were struggling, we were there with our open arms, figuratively, to support them.
Lovely, thank you very much. I'm going to move on to some more specific sort of curriculum questions that have come in. Could you just outline the languages that are taught at Amery Hill School, please, the languages? Yep,
we teach French and German. We do have Spanish in Year 11 at the moment, but from September it will be just French and German.
Thank you. Anything about teaching computer programming at all? There's a specific question about that. What sort of programming do we teach?
Okay, it's not my specialist area, but we do teach Key Stage 3. We teach an ICT curriculum, and then at Key Stage 4, we operate two options. We offer an iMedia qualification, and we also offer the GCSE computer studies.
Fantastic. Someone said that they're obviously very impressed with the sports and the drama facilities we have. So we've obviously got some fantastic sports people out there. Can you just outline what sort of curriculum offer is for PE, including sort of dance, what sports are played, and what sort of opportunities there are for sports at Amery Hill?
Okay, thank you. So as I've kind of alluded to, there's a great wealth of opportunities in the sporting area, and being a passionate sportsman a while ago, it's something that is obviously very, very important to me. Our students get the full range of different sports that are on offer, and from the traditional, the cricket, the basketball, the football, the rugby, the athletics, the hockey, the netball. But we also, because we're a fully inclusive school, we have students in wheelchairs here, and they take part in all those sporting options as well, to a different degree. But what we have is then our students that are who don't have a physical disability are then working and playing in some of those sports alongside someone in a wheelchair. So we do have additional sort of sporting wheelchairs that our able-bodied students can go in and can take part in a whole range of sports alongside their peers, which is wonderful.
Fabulous.
What else you wanted to ask me? Did I cover everything?
I think so, sir. It just on that sort of sporting theme or extracurricular, in a normal world, which we'll get back there eventually. What sort of after-school activities could students look forward to engaging in?
Oh, well, as well as I said, the sport, all those sort of activities that we do during the day are also extended into the afternoon. And, I often use this expression, we're a small school, but we pack a mighty punch. And, the staff here will have given up so much time after school to provide those extracurricular clubs. And I've talked about sport, but I can also equally talk about music, about drama, about the stuff that goes on in technology, in languages, in maths and science, in geography and history. There is a club for everyone. In English, as was alluded to in one of the students talking about their opportunity to go and debate law, or go and support something with the Hampshire Youth Parliament. There are so many opportunities in which staff give up their time to nurture those interests, develop them even further. So I believe that there will be a club and activity for any particular student with any particular interest. And if we don't do it now, there's no reason why we can't do that in the future.
Lovely, thank you. Just extending that music question, a question has come in about music lessons and how they're managed. Is it the same way for Hampshire teachers as it is in primary school?
It is, absolutely. So we sign up to the Hampshire Music offer, and students will come out of lessons on rotations and to specialise in the particular instrument that they have a passion in, and they can be examined on those in the normal ways here at school. And the beauty is we get that extra benefit because they then can take part in our wonderful concerts, and their music can be shared and appreciated by all, especially me.
Absolutely. Just quite a nice question, but how is the school fully inclusive for all students? Again,
I think there aren't many schools. In fact, there are very few schools in Hampshire that can say that they are as inclusive as we are. To be able to offer a school where those with a physical disability can enter into our school, can access every part of the school and access every part of the curriculum, just shows in one small instance how inclusive we are. And that's I think a real selling point of the school. That then manifests itself in all different types of way of inclusivity, from ability and the kind of things that I've talked about before regarding gender, regarding race, regarding sexuality and all those sorts of things. We're a very accepting school, and our students are incredibly accepting and understanding of people's differences. And so there is, I believe, and I truly see this on a day-to-day basis, that our school is probably one of the most inclusive schools that you could possibly wish to send your child to.
Lovely, thank you. Could you, there's a few questions about the pastoral system, and you would alluded to sort of rewards and awards through the iCare system. Could you just expand a little bit on actual pastoral care systems that are available to students, Amory? Yeah.
We kind of have this pyramid of kind of intervention and support, which starts and it's not necessarily a hierarchy, but at the bottom you have your classroom teacher, you have your tutor, you then have your progress leaders. If it's a pastoral issue, you have your heads of department. If it's a curriculum issue, above that you have our senior leadership team who support that structure throughout. Addition of side by side, you've got a school counsellors service, you've got an ELSA. Emotional literary support assistants. You have through the hub, you have key workers. If we need to go externally, then we have providers that come in to support young people. And we're constantly looking at ways in which we can support students' learning, support students' emotional resilience, and that's fundamental in ensuring that every student, regardless of their starting point, is able to succeed here at school. So a massive sort of support system that underpins everything we do.
Thank you very much. just some questions about the school structure. Obviously, slightly different in COVID times, but I think you've already alluded to the size of the year group. Some questions about class size, how are children put through sets, etc., managed throughout the year. Is there much integration between the different year groups? And what's the policy about if there's sort of twins or children choosing their own classes in different groups, etc.?
Okay, so yes, you said 200 students. 200 students in a. Sorry, apologies. The cleaner was just coming in to hoover up, which is nice of her. But nevertheless. School structure, yes. Students are set. We don't have much setting that goes on in this school because we're a great advocate of mixed ability teaching, and our staff here are trained and skilled in teaching in mixed ability. We live in a mixed ability society, so why on earth would we want to try and pigeonhole students into particular groups based on ability? I don't believe that is morally right. But nevertheless, there are certain subjects where it leads to supporting, and that normally occurs in maths and in languages in particular, and that will be based on a series of assessments, and it's not a case of if you are in a set, you move into a set and that's where you stay. There is that constant movement as we assess students through the course of a year and over the course of many years. If we believe students need to go up because that is most appropriate, then they will move, and likewise if students need some additional support and need to go at a slightly slower pace or a different pace, then they will be moved into a different set. As far as twins are concerned, it will be a discussion that we will have with the primary school, and we will have with parents about whether they feel it's appropriate that they are together or they are apart. We're a very flexible school in that respect, and we cater for the needs of the individual. That's the most important thing. And we will adapt our structure, our curriculum for the needs of what the students need and which will be best for them.
Lovely, thank you very much. Some questions are coming about the SEN support, and you've alluded to the hub already this evening, sir. Just wondered if you can unpack that a bit more about how our SEN students supported.
Well, the students are supported by individual programs, and it starts at that point of transition when my SENCO and various leaders will go out into the primary schools and have those conversations with the primary teachers who have obviously taught your son and daughter for the last maybe 3, 4, 5 years, or certainly for their last year at school in particular. And that information is absolutely key, because once that information comes back into school, we've already got a head start of knowing what those students' needs are. In school, we will do a range of assessments as well. So in year 7, not straight away, I don't believe in that, but once they are sort of comfortable in school, we will do a set of reading tests and spelling tests to give us an idea of where students are. And we will be able to identify some, groups of students who need that sort of support. And then from that, through our hub, they will then got a range of intervention programs to support those students in a particular area, to hopefully make them, to monitor them, to help them grow and support them in that particular area that needs developing. We also, for everyone on the SEN register, we have a student passport, which is an information sheet which gathers, again, who that student is, what their basic levels are, what the identified strengths and areas for development are, and that is shared with every member of staff. So if that student was to come into my lesson, if I was teaching them, I would know straight away, what are the things that really make them tick, or what we've gleaned from what makes them tick. What are the things that we need to focus on in particular when we're doing a particular unit of work or a particular type of assessment or activity. So I know they might need some additional support with that, or they might need some additional sort of guidance or differentiation of the task if need be. So lots of particular things. I'm not saying anything really specific there, but it is about catering for the individual, and at the hub with a large number of TAs, a huge amount of investment in that area, it allows us to support those individuals. Likewise, those students who are coming in with high levels of previous learning and knowledge, it's the same thing applies. We know that there are the targets that we need to really push and move them towards achieving those very high grades and expectations in the years to come. So it goes across the board. We do a lot, for the lower ability. We need to know, what works in the middle, and likewise in those students who have got that prior learning in the higher end of the year group.
Lovely, thank you very much. Just a few more, you'll be pleased to know.
Okay.
Just a question about GCSEs. So forward thinking, what year do we start GCSEs at Amy Hill? Is it year 9 or is it year 10?
Okay, we do a two-phase process. At the end of year 8, we offer what we call our foundation options choices to students. So they start year 9 with some selection. And so the offer is that when they start year 9, they will study in their core maths, English and science, which they obviously take through to GCSE. But the core offer also entails, because we believe it's fundamentally important to do that additional year in humanities. So they would do geography, history and RS. And then they will also continue with a language into their 3rd year, which some schools don't offer. And then they have 3 options. They have 3 further options that they can take from across the rest of the curriculum, which gives them that flavour of GCSE. And so we can start building some of those skills and a little bit of that knowledge into year 9, so that it doesn't become this race through 10 and then 11. So once they do move into, once they go through year 9 and they move into year 10, we offer our final range, which is our final options process and the full options, in which, as I said, maths, English and science are the core, and then students are offered a range of 4 different choices which they will take through to GCSE, and that is from the full curriculum offer that we have here at Amory Hill. Great choice, great diversity, and students can then really focus on that last 5 terms, which is all it is, to really cement their GCSEs and hopefully their highest grades possible.
Lovely, thank you very much. Just wondered if you could give any advice and guidance, really, or point people in the right direction. A lot of questions about buses, about things like cost of buses, routes, if they can be altered, where the pickup points are, etc. Just some advice, if you can, about where to get that information from.
Yeah, it will be. I'm not going to go through bus routes right now, because I'll probably say something wrong. It's not the thing I kind of memorise, bus routes. But what I will say is that we have a range of bus routes that leave this school heading towards Basingstoke and some of the outlying villages. All that information is on our website, or it will be on our website for you, so you can see what the offer is this precise moment. There is no plans to changing those bus routes at all in the coming years. It will be the routes that we have right now.
Lovely, thank you very much. Just final question is about transition. So when the families have signed on the dotted line and made the best choice on the 31st of October, what are the transition plans for Amory for our year 7s? What happens?
Okay, so in a normal year, once you've chosen Amory Hill as the school for you, which I sincerely hope that will be the case, then after March, we will have that list, and we will start, yourself, Mr. Gibbs, and the progress leader will start to make visits to the primary schools. My Senko will also start making visits to the primary schools to meet the students and meet the teachers, and start building a picture of what the profile of the year group is that are coming in. From that will be brought back into school, and we will start to plan what needs to happen next as far as putting tutor groups together. And for those students that need that additional transition time, which some students do, those that are anxious, those that are feeling worried, we do offer additional transition events in which they will come in smaller groups. We then have our induction day, which is fantastic, where we bring the whole cohort in, and that's when the first time they sit down and they become part of the staff of Amory Hill. They're put into their tutor groups, and then they spend a day with us, doing a range of different activities, some team building, but also actually going in to see some normal lessons and going through the dining hall and just getting familiar with the school, which is fantastic. In the evening, there's our induction evening, which will hopefully be live, and we invite our parents in, and then they can get to meet the tutors. And then from there is then the next step is September, and we offer a special day in September. Our first day of term is when just year 7 come in without the rest of the school. So again, in their uniform, looking fantastic, with eager eyes and anticipation to start what will hopefully be an amazing journey with us.
Fabulous. Thank you very much, Mr. Mann. That is the end of this evening's questions.
Thank you very much. Now, I hope that has answered many of the questions that have been put forward and many of the questions you might have had. What I will say, though, is in this final slide is that on our website, up now, and will be added to over the next week or so, there is a website page called Joining I'm just going to move this out of the way. I'll try to anyway. There it is. Joining us in September 2021. And on this part of the website, you will find hopefully some of the frequently asked questions that have happened, that have been asked tonight, and I will be typing some of those up to give an answer to. You'll also see that the video that I've shown you this evening. There's our online prospectus, and we will also put into our latest newsletters that we produce once a term, which is a real glossy brochure of just some of the things that are amazing. And then also, if you haven't got the link, there is the link to Hampshire County Council to put for the application portal. Any further questions, and this is really important, is that we have this special email set up, openevents@amoryhill.hants.sch.uk, where if you've got any questions at all to us, then please don't hesitate in putting a question to us, and someone in school will respond in due course, either by phone or responding in an email. I'm really sorry that obviously today it couldn't be in person, but I hope we've been able in some way to give you an essence of what this school is about, the passion that I have for this school and this wonderful community and our wonderful students here, that, you know, we are a school that has high aspirations and only want the best for the students that come to our school. And I sincerely hope that, you know, in the coming year, you will be part of that and join us, which will hopefully be a wonderful journey for us all. In the meantime, I'm going to stop there. Have a break. If you missed anything or want to hear it all again, I'm on live again at 7:30. I'm sure you'll probably have better things to do. But nevertheless, in the meantime, have a very good evening. Stay safe, stay well, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.